Here's Tommy Dreamer saying something, that I've said as well multiple times, as it always is here at PWT. Here's Tommy Dreamer on Busted Open, and here's his thoughts. I guess I could just give like my summation quick of the show. Like, it was just lifeless. Fletcher's out there trying. The best on the show was Julia Hart. Her vignettes are great. I tweeted out, I was like, next week's Dynamite should just be 2 hours of whatever the horror movie that Julia Hart's trapped in, because hers is awesome. And the girl who's been working on that stuff with Julia has been like tweeting out like, yes, thank you, we worked on this, da-da-da. So again, the best stuff on the show has no Moxley influence, has no Tony Khan fingerprints, has no, right? It's just Julia and this girl like shooting indie horror movie, It Follows vibe type, or maybe that's not even the right vibe, but it's just fun, man. So Julia Hart's an A++. Juice and Jay are great, but it's just no one cares. Like, no one cares about anything because nothing's consistent. And we just know like Camille's just gonna come out and be made to look stupid, and then Monet's gonna get beat up. Like, Statlander's just beating everyone up, and the crowd's dead, and they're yelling at Moxley, go back to Rome, and they don't care. They're heckling. And I have thoughts on all of this. I have tweets that I tweeted out. I'll read those. But yeah, let's just scroll through in no particular order today. Phil Marks, bookmarks. And I just want to like listen to and read a few of these. So one thing Dreamer's puzzled by is like the fans there cheering Moxley on. And what do we always say here at PWT? It's ass backwards in AEW. And the people there don't really like the fans they bring in are that go to any degenerate wrestling show. If an indie came to town that ran a building that holds 2K and they had these same names, they could probably get 1,000, 1,200, 1,800 people in there, or whatever the number is, right? They could easily do that. These are just people who drag along. They might even be people who are mostly WWE fans, but they just go to any wrestling show. And by the way, when I say this, I go to wrestling show. I'll go to an indie show. I'll go to whatever wrestling show. I'm saying like I'm a sicko. Phil S. Marks, you guys know. But it's like I'm an objective, realistic one at the same time. And yes, to go to a random indie outlaw show, as they're called, a spot show, and watch guys do spots and pop the crowd and do crazy, that is awesome. And that's what AEW is. But it just doesn't work as far as like, oh, you want to be the number 2 promotion, $250 million deals, the best guys Tony Khan, right? You want to be Mr. The Key Demo, and we're going to beat Raw in the ratings. Then you can't do it that way because that's indie spot show style. And that's all anybody's been trying to say, right? And so here's another instance of that where these goobers are cheering the heels, but also they're cheering the heels. Well, I'll explain it. Let's listen to Dreamer, and then I'll read my tweet.
If I could go back to the Moxley promo, he cuts a this promo was a generic bad guy promo. All the stuff he's going to do to Orange Cassidy, who's the beloved babyface. I'm going to beat you up that your mom's not going to recognize you. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then his promo ends and they cheer. I'm like, wait, what? Then here comes Orange Cassidy's music.
Tommy Dreamer's like, you what?
You what?
Oh my God, I love it.
Cheer for that. We have this nice little back and forth. I like Orange Cassidy's explanation, and the fans are reacting. We get out of that segment where my bad guys are leaving, and then it pops it back up. That segment I did enjoy, and I'm glad for it. But the fans cheering for Jon Moxley's promo of how he's going to destroy the guy who's going to be the savior for AEW, that, like, I'm seriously like, why are you cheering this? He literally, and when I say generic,
plus he's a Yahtzee.
I just mean it's bad guy 101 to get you to boo him.
It's because the AEW fans, I'm going to read my tweet here. It's over on this other page. I say it's because it's ass backwards. And they won't accept the reality that people don't want to see Orange Cassidy and these dudes, as in like Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia. They don't want to see them as saviors and heroes and threats to titles or as the faces of the company. They want to see them do jobs and get beat, which is normal for people, but it's ass backwards. They won't accept the reality of what the reality is. The ass backwardsness I'm referring to is that, yeah, they're going to cheer the heels. They want the blood, and they spent the whole time going blood and guts and we're cool. So that's what the people that still watch the show are going to want. And that's what they're going to think is cool. The blood and guts and the coolness, man. It's cringe, bro. It's cringe. So here, another good example of like how people just don't give it. Here's MJ from NJ, pulls out this chart that says how AEW free agents in 2024 helped AEW Dynamite viewership. Below is a review of the notable debuts. So I don't know. There's a whole breakdown. I'm not going to read all that. Here's like the spikes. Here's the dips, the lowest ever right here. And it just shows you. Like Lashley didn't even get as much viewers as Ricochet as MVP, and then it's gone completely down since. Right? You guys can see this chart. Like Mercedes Moné did pretty decent numbers. Now you could be like, oh, there's playoffs and all this, but I don't know, man. I don't know. None of these people. This 891K, I believe, was from them playing the Punk footage. No, or is that wrong? I believe that's what it was from. So. Or maybe I'm completely off and that was a different thing. But yeah, it's just foolishness. It's not going to get better with debuts. It's not going to get better. Oh, the free agents. You got to write good stories. Tony Khan's got to get well, John Moxley's booking this stuff. Yeah, well, he's the Brock didn't want to do with him. Brock does with everybody. I can only imagine that Moxley was trying to pitch to him. Like, let's be real. I know, man. It's like you're Ivan Drago and I'm like Rocky. It'll be cool. I know Brock will fight. We'll have a real MMA match. It'll be sweet. I'm going to try this stuff called Death Jitsu, bro. You know, it's a clown show. John Draper reacted to Dynamite. He's like, now the strategy is going to be from the AEW faithful when a show is bad, that it's not the performers of the writing of the company's fault. It's the few people that paid to be there who are at fault for not being more enthusiastic about the show. He said that in response to Elbu, who said, where did Elbu say it? He was like, man, this crowd sucks ass. He said it, the goober, somewhere. He's like, this crowd sucks. This guy's like, and people like this is why this app is a cancer. Oh, I guess he just called him a cancer. People like you. And then Draper's like, AEW wanted a mentally unstable, perpetually online, morbidly obese, anonymous fan base, and that's all they have left now. Imagine referring to another human being as cancer because they didn't like a wreshling show that you're in a parasocial relationship with. Oh, he must have hit enter by accident. I was like, what the? And then this guy took Timbo, right, who blocks PWT confirmed, goes, Dynamite was easily a 10 out of 10 for me. This had to be one of the greatest episodes of Dynamite ever, bro. So, you know, like, this is what people mean by just the right amount of promo and action. The storytelling is at an all-time high. AEW kicked ass tonight. Woo. So bad. Shout out Evil Dose. Like, he's responding to what John Draper responded to. And here's Elbu. He's like, man, this crowd sucks. Blames the crowd. See, they're going to blame everything about the show, the feel, everything about it on everything except for what the problem is. And we all know what the problem is.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
And the guy saying that, Meltzy Weltsy, okay? So Dose says, yeah, it's the crowd. It's their fault. It's not the show. It's not even a crowd. It's about 1,200, mostly comped or steeply discounted. Ticket buyers, that's not a crowd. Whose fault is that? And yeah, Dose has been going off, man. He's been going off lately. You know, and this is the type of shilling we're talking about. Like, here's Elbu again. You know, one of our resident fools here at Pro Wrestle Times. Another one of our many fools. Fight Factory posts, wrestler goes off script and shows brutality. And it's the video of Ospreay, like, back elbowing the dude, that jobber, and then, like, laying in the elbows to the back of the neck. That people, you know, it was a work, but it looks really badass. But Elbu decides to go to the non-wrestling fans in the replies. This is Will Ospreay, and yes, he did go off script. He's a wild renegade that works for AEW, and on most Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern on TBS, fans nationwide watch him completely go off the rails in matches like this all the time. It's definitely dangerous, but also extremely compelling. Wild guy. A lot of the other wrestlers do this too, which first off, real fight fans, the sick, disgusting fight fans who like to watch brutal knockouts and horrible violence online and world star hip hop fights. Yeah, those, first off, Ibu, I'm going to cook you right here. Those are the types of dummies that are going to be into some guy just viciously, brutally elbowing someone in the back of the neck. I don't even know if I can show this on YouTube, so I'm not gonna. MMA fans and real fight fans, we don't like that. That's up and weird to do that. If someone's KO'd, you don't keep pounding on them. So Elbu, like, also just showing that you don't even understand, like, what fight fans like, even, because you probably don't watch any sports, probably have never played a sport, probably in the locker room whipping them with towels and slapping every dude on the ass. Good game. Like Ray in Scary Movie. Good game. Hey, nice ass. Last one in the showers. Uncle Ray's going to get you. This is weird. And then also, I tweeted about this as well. I said, who the does Elbu think he's talking to or informing by quote tweeting this thing? Right? No one in the replies is going to see that because you quote tweeted it, bud. Say what you just said in the replies so that the people in the replies that Elbu's addressing see what you're saying, and maybe you'll convert some of those fans. So I go talk about low IQ. And when I say low IQ online, guys, people think like, you guys never hear me on the show, like, what a low IQ. I just call people dumb or dummy. Yeah. The low IQ thing is me making fun of like Meltzer and Elbu, who are like, well, dumb people will tell you that. Like that whole thing, the elitist, like low IQ pores, I'm making fun of that. So that's why I go talk about low IQ. You guys see on Twitter, if you look up low IQ, I say that all the time. I'm trolling, okay? Like that's me throwing it back in these people's faces. But anyways, I go talk about low IQ, but your followers already watch the reply underneath to educate their followers. Or do you not get your narcissistic supply fixed that way? And I baked him, bro, because that's what this is at this point. It's like a weird to be like, oh, bruh, I'd book NXT better than Sean. Oh, here's a little gif about Triple H's heart problem. No, bro. We know what you're doing, and we know why you get paid. And it's funny, too, because I see other people calling him Elbu. And then I see the flutes everywhere, too. Like, we just started so much here at PWT. It's so funny. The fans like Bixen span. WWE brainwashed the wrestling fans to react coldly to AEW originals like Daniel Garcia and Orange Cassidy, and to cheer former WWE guys like Moxley and Cesaro. I don't think even WWE brainwashed them to do that. AEW brainwashed them to do that. Tony Khan's booking brainwashed them to do that, bro. That's what happened, man. It's just that only WWE guys are over because Tony presents them that way. There's a way to bring these guys in, and I don't know. He just missed the mark, And then doing this invasion with Moxley, like Moxley's been on the roster the whole time. You just had Lashley and them come in. I don't know. There's a way to do this and a way to not do this. And it's just all the little things that get looked over. That's the key. That's the biggest problem I have. It's just the details, man. They don't pay attention to them. And even Moxley came out and said, we covered it on last night's show. There's no direction. There's no ladder. People don't want to do this. Saying all the same as Punk. Saying all the same as Punk. And why? Either he's working everyone by saying that stuff and he doesn't really believe it, and he thinks what? It's going to make everyone hate on him? No, we all love Punk for saying that. What are you talking about? They just don't get it. Like, either way, if they're working, they're dumb, or if this is his reality, then they're all hypocrites for bullying CM Punk out of the company, making him literally fight people to say the same thing. He said the same thing. You had to get in a fist fight with people. It's ridiculous. So here's John Draper again. He says the best part about AEW Dynamite being slammed on here by countless viewers is that the largest fake journalists and podcasters who cover wrestling as a means to feed themselves will say nothing negative whatsoever about a second of it and gaslight you if you confront them. He's absolutely right. The gatekeepers, as we call them, right? Because PWT is in fact the biggest pro wrestling podcast. No, I'm just kidding. One day, no, not even close. Cornette, as long as he's got breath in his lungs, will hold that title. I truly believe that. But anyways, though, Dick Van Klondike responds. He goes, well, the one that uses his private text messages from Tony Khan as a means to curry favor, hit on women of influence with the IWC. Now, I thought he was talking about Meltzer, but Meltzer doesn't hit on women. You know what I mean? So who's this dude referring to that texts with Meltzer and uses, or are these separate people? Text messages from Tony Khan, or is this Elbu he's referring to? It's gotta be Elbu, right? I don't know. I like, listen, I believe, is this Dick Van Klondike? Who is this? Yeah, this is the guy that used to date that But Why Alyssa girl that all the sickos just oogle over. You know what I mean? So he would know who slid in her DMs for sure. And if these like, hey baby, I work for Wrestle Pierce and shit, allegedly, I'm not saying it's Elbu, but it seems like that's who everyone's talking about here, right? So all I'm saying is like, that's funny, bro. That is hilarious if you trying to slide, man. Especially because she like laughs at AEW so much, you know, but also has fair takes. But this is super funny if this dude's saying this and like exposing this. But who gets texts from Tony Khan? Like, is it Elbu? It has to be, because he's like, I could just text Tony Khan and ask him for a job. And so I don't know, guys. I'm bringing it to the show. You chat, you guys tell me. Members, you guys tell me. I don't know. The truth is out there. Wouldn't want to rock the proverbial boat, I'm afraid. Yeah, he's got screen grabs. Possibly, allegedly. Hopefully does. Awesome stuff. Something to keep an eye on for. I don't know. This is Love and Pro Wrestling with PWT. I'm starting to think Denise wanted to get the hell out of there as fast as she could because she could tell that ship was sinking and she did not want her career tied to it. Well, what I find interesting is like, she's very fair and in the middle. And she's like, I really want to do a Raw review show. So one of you guys who also listens to Fightful, or if somebody can do some sleuthing right now for your boy, Phil, and get back to us here in the chat. Was she on Fightful's post-Raw show before? But Elbu's on the post-Raw show. He's a pure WWE hater. He thinks he can book NXT better than Sean. He said that. He made fun of Triple H's heart problems. You know what I mean? He referred to his heart problem as ducking out of an interview or some type. And so he's an idiot. To have that guy review WWE, like, at least have someone that you know's neutral and not just objectively leaning one way, right? In their subjective opinion of things, you know? Or I don't know, is he shilling because he knows Tony Khan? Like, that's the thing. You meet Tony Khan, he gives you a hug, you shake his hand, and you go, he hired Will. Maybe I could get a job. Like, I get it. I get wanting to do that. Trust me. I could have taken that route. Anyone could, you know? I get wanting to do that, but you got to call it like it is, you know? I love Matt Morgan. He loves Camille. I've been the most critical of Camille. Not even her bad. It's Monet's fault and Peppermint's fault, and you know, and Tony Khan's fault. I'm sorry. It's just another thing. I'm not going to go off on Camille, but like, I get it. You know, you either got to keep it real or you got to kiss buns and try and get some. But it's just, when people call it out, just ignore it. You got to ignore it because it's indefensible, you know. But either way, I don't know if she's like, it's a sinking ship, or if it's sinking or not. I don't even want to say that because I don't know. Like, you know, I don't know what their accounting looks like. And but at the same token, someone get back to me about that Monday Night Raw show thing, because she's like, I can't wait to start my Raw post show, and then Elbu's on a Raw post show on Fightful the next day. And I always said it, you know, I get her role in the IWC. I get her role in this media space. She's just like the cute kind of whatever, asks the whatever questions, the dumb question or the simple question, and just gets the cute little soundbite, and people are comfortable and are willing to tell her a little more because of that. And at the same time, she's a real fan. She doesn't have any uber hot takes, and that's fine. Her job isn't to do that. You know what I mean? Her job's not to do a Phil Marks. Otherwise, we don't get just the sort of surface level stuff. And we need some people to do that, and she does that very well, you know. And yeah, because of that, she's gonna ask the dumb question. You know, Bray just died. How you feeling about, like, because of that, you're gonna get that. And that's her role. Her role is to be that person who can ask that type of dumb question so we can all react to it, you know. And I'm not even hating on her for it. That is her role in the universe, you know. So I've never, I don't know if she's ever been like, I'm breaking stories either. I'm pretty sure she's just like a pundit, so I've never had a problem with Denise. I don't know. She's gotten a lot of hate over the years. JD head exploded. Of course, though. You know, someone tagged me in it. They're like, yeah, JD does a whole segment roasting Meltzer. Phil Marks is like, bro, if you're biting my... It's like, yeah. I got asked that on the live show too. It's like, yeah, you're gonna see a lot of that. A lot of people doing Phil Marks out there, dude. But Denise has been doing Raw watch-alongs in recent weeks. Amazing, good for her. Not a fan of Righteous Reg. I'm not even like overly familiar with Righteous Reg. I just don't. Yeah, I think he says cringe. You saying cringe about NXT and Philly? I'm not a fan. I'm not like a fan. I don't sit there and watch Denise Salcedo content. I don't. I'm not going to lie. Before, when that was one of the only people out there, you know, yes, I watched her stuff. And yes, I'll see a clip. I follow her on Twitter. I see her post a clip. I'll watch it. But I don't like go out of my way to watch Denise Salcedo, you know, or any of that, to be honest. I only go out of my way to listen to like a few people, and you know, because I also want my ideas to be my own. It's like a comedian. Like, you don't want to listen to too much other jokes because you might bite some of it or like get the same ideas or whatever. You want to like come at everything original. So I don't know. There's a lot of people. I know musicians who do that too, where they'll go like long periods where they're working on music and they're like, I don't listen. What do you listen to? Nothing the last year. Why? Well, because I don't want to be influenced by anything right now. You know, I just want to do my own thing. So I'm kind of like that with the pods, you know. I try and like lay off them so that I can just come with my hot takes. He's all over AEW or WWE all the damn time, which is fine. You're allowed to do that, but just it's funny that you get hired as the Fightful WWE review guy when you all over it. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to do this new thing where like I watch Dynamite every week. I mostly on it. I try and point out what's good, right? But the thing is I'm being genuine and honest. Elboo's not being genuine. He wants to like WWE. He just can't like WWE, or else his whole personality he's built dies, right? If I started loving AEW tomorrow, it would still be hilarious because I've done it where I'm like, come on, guys, this episode's a B+, and I just let everyone roast me. These people, their egos don't let them do that because they have to be right. Their whole shtick is like, I'm right, and I know Tony Khan, so trust me when I say this, right? And Elboo gets lumped into that because there's been stories people report and go, according to Backup Hangman, this guy said this in AEW, and like we're supposed to believe it. But anyways, yeah, so that was pretty much reactions to Dynamite. I got some more sickos while we're in here. We can just talk about some. So Anthony Bowens posted this. He's like, 2K followers on Blue Sky is getting the same engagement as 110K followers on X. Yeah, that's because there's more people on X, bro, who don't like you or don't care or don't agree with you. Do you understand? I'm not trying to on Bones. I like him. In my hired or fired, I hired him, and I think he's the better worker of the Acclaimed or whatever. I'm not even hating on the dude. I think he's good on the stick when he needs to be. I think he's good in ring as well. I'm not even hating on the dude, but Bowens, you got to understand, you exist in this bubble, bro, and on Blue Sky, it's just a bubble of people who want to get away from Twitter. So doing these like social things on Blue Sky right now, yeah, I want to see something. Like everyone gets behind that. And also on Twitter, there's way more people, so it's easier to get lost in the sauce. So this isn't like a real, you can't even, if they had the same amount of users or like roughly the same, you'd be onto something. And I get it. Oh, but only the 2K followers. Yeah, but you tweeted to everyone, hey, go follow me on Blue Sky. And then you went on Blue Sky, and then 2K of your 110K followed you over there, right? That's it. Of your 110K, 2K followed you over, right? And then the numbers are like the same. Why do you think? Because it's the same people who engage with you all the time. But whatever, do you? But yeah, it's just your bubble that follows you, that engages with you. All you did is proved, here's the number of people who engage with me, roughly. You know, that's all it is. But anyways, everyone wants Blue Sky to be this haven. They're all just gonna stay here on Twitter. You wouldn't be on Twitter tweeting about Blue Sky, and you wouldn't be on Blue Sky talking about Twitter if, you know, you're just going to stay on Twitter, bro. So anyways, imagine getting triggered by this tweet. And yeah, so this lady, this wrestler, tweeted this out, and look how the sickos, they Kat Dennings'd her, bro. Alex Garcia says, the WWE, she goes, the Federation, the Federales, the Federation has and will always be the goal. And then this guy, no, it's not, Alex. That company is not the standard of professional wrestling, even though it is. This guy goes, some wrestlers aren't confident in their own skills to become stars. They need a WWE stamp to make up for their lack of star pie. Even though it's the complete opposite. A lot of these people, like Will Ospreay, is not confident enough to go, yeah, I'll make 8 milli. I'll make more than 8 milli. I'll become a household name. I'll become a Cody Rhodes top-selling global sensation. I'll become that, but I got to grind it out a little bit, bruv. Like for a few years here, I got to take the hundreds of thousands. He's not confident enough, so he just took the 8 milli and went, yeah, I'll just do this, bruv. It don't matter how many people, bruv, in the stands, bruv, you know? So it's the complete opposite, bro. The WWE stamp means you're legit enough in this business. The WWE ID stamp even means you're legit enough that they go, we think you have what it takes to at least be a player in this huge, ginormous global juggernaut where the best pro wrestling, sports-based pro wrestling takes place. Is in WWE. I don't give a tell me otherwise. Watch a Darby Allin match and tell me what's sports-based. I'm sorry. Watch Leo Rush and Ricochet and tell me what is more like a Jackie Chan movie. I love Jet Li too. I love that movie, The One. Okay? Hey, I like that too. But what's better pro wrestling? I don't know. I pop for beads more than I pop for people redoing The Matrix in front of 1,000 people in a big empty building where you can hear everything echo. You know, and someone yelled, I don't know why it's not in here. It might have been in AEW news. I'll cover it on the next live show, but someone yelled at Moxley, like, go back to Roman or whatever. And they were like booing Tony Khan when he came out. People who were there said that they were booing him when he came out to address the fans and talk about Time Cop. Anyways, though, this guy goes, you mean AEW? Like just goofs. They run people away from AEW. They don't get how they run people away. They get so triggered. If she goes, AEW has always been the goal. I guarantee there'd be some drones too under here being like, oh, you must not want to be a star then or something. Maybe. Who knows? There'd be at least one or two who'd make some sort of stupid, snide WWE comment. But at the same time, those drones aren't looking at just indie wrestlers unless WWE tells them to. You think WWE's not the goal for like MJF too? And like a bunch of these people? You're an idiot if you don't understand that every wrestler's goal is the Federation, bro. You only like wrestling because the Federation. It's the truth, okay? Take it from a sicko who watches MLW on YouTube. I watch OVW. Go try and watch an OVW Rise show, please, and tell me if you can get through it. I watch that, okay? The Federation's the goal for everybody. Everybody has a memory of the Fed that makes them a wrestling fan. But anyways, here's some more like sickos responding to her. And you will get released sooner than later. All Elite Illmatic. Go start sucking the right cocks then. Dude, these are guys who are so depraved of any female interaction or life. And this is what Tony Khan wanted for the sickos. Right? Mercedes Moné ruined Sasha Banks and Camille with her on Dynamite. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I forgot to say about Dynamite. Oh, yeah, people were mad about the Mina Shirakawa Harley Cameron titty shaking. My whole thing is this. I quote tweeted Neckbeards who posted a thing of it, and he's like, imagine the outrage if this was WWE, which is true. The outrage would be, astronomical. But I like the whole titty shaking, and I love it. We're bringing sexy back here at PWT. But Neckbeards is spot on. If this was WWE, it would be called misogynist McDonald's slop. I also wonder how this will fit into the hard sports-based reset coming in 2025 that everyone's talking about. If you remember, Mox is like, yeah, we're going to be more cool again. So, yeah, I'm not triggered by the titty shaking. I just don't want to show it. I'll get Don Stevens, And then someone else tweeted out, this guy, Brian R. Solomon, says that he goes like, this was just not a good show at all. The main event got the crowd going a bit, but for the most part, the fans were disinterested, yelling and chanting over promos, sitting on their hands during matches. Hard to follow as a live spectator. Tony Khan was booed. And I go, nobody actually likes AEW except for AIR Gold and LA Ruiz and these other goofballs. And even for them, it's a grift. They don't really like this. They just have no personalities and hate WWE, but they all still watch it. The people who buy tickets to these shows are degenerates who'll go to any pro wrestling show in their area, who probably had to drag a casual non-fan or WWE fan to the show, or they got free or heavily discounted tickets. And I'm not hating on that, by the way. I'm a degenerate who goes to wrestling shows. Let him know if anyone goes, oh, this guy thinks he's a... No, I'm a sicko. I fully say it here. Phil S. Marks, shop S. Marks for Smarks. Okay. Shout out Evil Dead. Yes, I'm a smark. I'll go to an indie show. I'll drag my casual WWE fan wife to shows. You know what I mean? Friends that don't like wrestling, I'll drag to shows that don't know anything about it. Yes, even to WWE, I'll do that too. So I'm not hating on that. I'm just letting you know that's the only people who go. It can't just be the only people who go. It has to be like, oh, WWE's in town. Oh, the Ringling Cirque du Soleil's in town. Oh, Motley Crue's in town. You got to have it like that, man. That's how it's got to be. No one's going, oh, AEW's in town. We got to go. It's like, oh, you want to go see AEW? What's that? Well, like, there's some like WWE guys. You remember like, like Cody Rhodes? He's like super. Okay, his brother's in it. He might be there. Do you remember Jake the Snake? Yeah, he sometimes comes out, man. Like you might. Oh, do you remember Bobby Lashley? He like shaved. You remember like he shaved Vince's head with Donald Trump. Yeah. That guy's like there now, and like he doesn't have a match, but we're gonna hear from him tonight. Like that's how you have to pitch it to people. This guy, like what you have to explain everything for him. And they're trying to do more storytelling and vignettes, and they're bad. They're focusing on bad stories and bad vignettes and other than the Julia Hart thing. Even I try and put over, hey, they're Hollywooding it up a bit, but now the sickos are like, oh yeah, they did great storytelling and management of wrestling. And I'm reading this on Twitter, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, now you like storytelling and you guys like the vignettes and the promo packages and balancing it with the match time. Curious how that works, hey? Or are you guys just saying anything now? Are you guys just saying anything? Like, I'll say it. That Julia Hart's brilliant. I'll put it over. Yes, they're showing more recaps and packages. Good work. But the storylines I'm interested in what Julia's doing. I'm not interested. There's literally not one story where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see how this plays out. I don't give a about anything going on right now in AEW. Athena's more interesting in Ring of Honor. I'm not kidding. If I know it's like, who watches Ring of Honor? Just go and fast forward and watch Athena. And you'll be like, okay. Look up the clips of Athena and you'll be like, well, she's trying. Why isn't this on Dynamite? It's ludicrous. Anyways, so I continue along and I say, the buildings are so big and empty, you can hear everything. Everyone yells. This happens every AEW show. The production is asked because they're forced to film around emptiness and it's tarped off sections. Just run smaller buildings, have 500 to 1,000 people who actually want to be there. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Stop listening to these dumb gatekeeper dirt sheet goofs who don't even like pro wrestling, and be honest with your position in the grand scheme of things. I promise it'll only benefit everyone involved. And that's my little go-off nuke I had to drop there. But if they're slashing ticket prices, I bet you some people are going there just to troll and heckle and just be assholes. Exactly. That's what they're doing. You're inviting it, bro. And you don't even need to, it's not even about like, just make them affordable and run 1,000 seats. run 500 seats. It's more intimate. It's not like for the fans at all. It's none of that, you know? And then Awful Wrestling pointed this out too. Look at WrestleNomics' logo. So there's WrestleNomics logo, and it's literally the Weather Network, the Weather Nation. Now, I don't know who came first, man, the chicken or the egg, but that's the exact same logo. I think Wayne Enterprises used one like that too in Batman, actually. So who knows? But good eye by Awful. And yeah, round of applause, I guess, for like news. I guess that was some sicko just reaction, sicko segment there.